Windows 11 is the latest version of the most popular operating system in the world, and as long as you have a supported PC, it's very easy to install. But therein lies the problem. Windows 11 has significantly higher system requirements compared to previous versions of Windows, so there are a lot of unsupported PCs you can't install it on. The most notable change for many is the new requirement for a Trusted Platform Module, TPM. But it also bumps the minimum RAM required to 4 GB and it requires an x64-based processor, on top of having a fairly restrictive list of supported CPUs. All of that means that many users are left without an official path to upgrade to Windows 11, even if their PC still runs well enough for them. While there isn't much you can do about compatibility if you have an x86, 32-bit CPU, you can bypass the requirements for specific CPUs or TPM support, which allows most Windows PCs to upgrade to Windows 11. Check if TPM and Secure Boot are enabled. Before you get in too deep, one thing that's worth keeping in mind before starting this process is that in some cases, your PC may have TPM or Secure Boot support, another Windows 11 requirement, but it's disabled in the BIOS, so first, you should make sure Secure Boot is enabled alongside TPM. Here's how. Restart your computer. When you see the first signs of life, such as the manufacturer's logo, repeatedly press Escape, F1, F2, or F12. Different brands use different keys. Once in the BIOS settings, look for settings called Secure Boot and TPM. This may also be labeled as Security Device or have other text around it. They'll usually be under a security section, but it may vary depending on your computer. Make sure both are enabled. Save your changes and exit. After this, you may be able to install Windows 11 on your PC through the usual methods. If you don't find these settings, they might not be supported, which is where this guide comes in. Bear in mind that if you install Windows 11 on an unsupported PC, you may not be able to get future updates. Security updates shouldn't be much of a problem, but you may end up needing to repeat this process if Microsoft releases a big update, such as Windows 11 version 24H2. That means you can't get these updates through Windows Update, but rather, you have to download a full ISO and repeat all these steps again. Additionally, some unsupported hardware has a good reason to not be supported. Performance and stability may not be the best on some older PCs, and at some point it's best to just buy a new computer. Bypass system requirements with Rufus. Create a custom, bootable USB drive. Rufus is a very useful tool for creating bootable installation drives for Windows and other operating systems. It's been around for a long time, and with Windows 11, the developer actually added some features to make it easier to install the new OS on unsupported machines, since it can bypass TPM, Secure Boot, and RAM requirements. Here's what you need to do to get this working. Start by downloading an ISO file for Windows 11. The option to download an ISO is the third one, but you can also create an ISO using the Media Creation tool on this page. Download the latest version of Rufus from the official website. It comes in both installable and portable versions, and you can use whatever you prefer. Plug in the USB flash drive you're going to use as installation media. Launch Rufus, and pay attention to the options you'll see here. Start by choosing the right flash drive under Device near the top. Under Boot Selection, click the Select button and look for the ISO file you downloaded. A few default settings will be applied, and you shouldn't need to change them. You can change the name of the drive if you want it to be easier to identify, though. Click Start at the bottom of the window. You'll see a prompt with a series of options, but the only one you need is at the top. This will disable all the compatibility checks for Secure Boot, TPM, specific CPUs, and even RAM, though we still wouldn't recommend installing Windows 11 if you don't meet the RAM requirements. It should be enabled by default, but if it isn't, make sure to enable it. You may also want to select the option to remove the requirement for an online Microsoft account. Click OK, and Rufus will start moving the Windows 11 installation files to the flash drive. This process can take a while, especially if you have a slower USB port. When the process is finished, you'll have a USB flash drive that you can use to install Windows 11 on almost any PC that doesn't meet the requirements. Open the USB drive and launch the setup file to begin the installation. Follow the installation process as normal. Click Accept when you see the Windows 11 license terms, and then Install when you see the summary screen for the installation options. Windows 11 will begin installing. There's one other trick you can try if you don't have a USB drive and you're running into other issues. This one can be a bit risky for an upgrade due to potential compatibility and driver issues, however. We would definitely steer less experienced users toward the Rufus solution. Here is what you need to do. Download a Windows 11 ISO, just as we did for the methods above. Double-click and mount the ISO as a virtual drive, and the new drive should open automatically. Take note of the drive letter in the address bar. In our case, it's E, but it may vary. Open a command prompt window. You can do this by searching for CMD in the Start menu and pressing Enter. Enter the following text, replacing E with the correct drive letter for your specific case. e:/setup.exe/product-server/compat ignore warning /migrate drivers all. The setup should launch, but labeled as a Windows Server installer. Click through the process as you normally would, and Windows 11 will begin installing. If you followed all of these steps correctly, you should soon have your computer running Windows 11 without any problems. Alright, so there you have it. Windows 11 installed and running smoothly on hardware that Microsoft says isn't supported. Look, I get it. Not everyone is ready to throw out a perfectly good PC just because it doesn't meet some arbitrary requirement like TPM 2.0 or Secure Boot. So if you followed along and got it working, congrats, you just extended the life of your device, saved some cash and beat the system a little bit. But keep in mind, installing Windows 11 this way does come with a few risks. You might not get all future updates, some features might not behave perfectly, and Microsoft could make changes that break this workaround in the future. So if you're doing this on a main machine, make sure to back up your data regularly. If this tutorial helped you out, or even just gave you the confidence to try it, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. I cover all kinds of tech fixes, software workarounds, and step-by-step tutorials like this every week. Got stuck somewhere during the process? Drop your questions in the comments. I try to help out as many people as I can. And if you found a better or easier method, let the community know. We all learn from each other here. You can also check out my other videos on optimizing older systems, dual boot setups, and more Windows customization tricks. I'll leave some links on screen now. Thanks a ton for watching, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.